feel we can be better is scoring runs, and I think a lot of our offensive individual performances have turned. You've seen a significant turn from Brandon Drury. He's a major league average hitter right now, and just 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was not the case. So that's been exceptional. Eric Sogard has added a lot to the lineup, to the professionalism of his at bat. I think has helped others. It looks like Teoscar is slowly climbing out and still projects to be a very good major league hitter that hasn't run into the home runs just yet. So defensively, we've been a little bit better than we've expected, and we've made some base running decisions that have been less than ideal. But overall, I think we're in a decent spot with great opportunity to improve.
Ross, you touched on Teoscar. It's been a bit of a battle for McKinney as well. Are you concerned at all about the level of production you're getting from the corner field spot?
Yeah, I mean and they are as well. And the concern isn't that it's not going to turn. We know it's going to turn. We know it's going to get better. The concern is just how can we help them? How can we help them make sure that they are in great spots and giving them all the resources to improve. So it's not a matter of concerns that it won't get better. It's just us collectively thinking about how can we help them.
We were just talking with Charlie about Teoscar, and he was like, last year Teoscar was really kind of expanding the zone and getting in trouble that way. This year he's talking about how it's a little bit more, he's kind of missing his pitch. Yeah. Is he kind of stuck in between a little bit, trying to increase that plate discipline?
It's such an interesting thing with hitting. With hitting is a very hard thing to evaluate. It's a very hard thing to teach, to coach, to improve. The difference in pitching is exactly what a pitcher is thinking when they execute a pitch. He was trying to throw a fastball away or a curveball down or a fastball up and in. You absolutely know that. And with a hitter, as you go through the course of the at-bat, even asking the hitter that for every single pitch is nearly impossible over the course of the game. You hope that they see 20 of them. So is that a potential that his timing is off because of the lack of decisiveness? With confidence is everything for hitting, and there's the potential that that lack of decisiveness is impacting him right now, but very confident that it will turn for him and for McKinney as well.
Plus, with Danny Jansen, defensively, I would think he's probably been everything you guys want. But just because of the nature of the position, do you look at the offense that's coming from a young player in his spot a little bit differently, and maybe weigh where the offensive production is a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent, yes, it is a less demanding position offensively, and you have to factor in the mental toll and physical toll that a catcher has. Especially as a young one. So there's so many things that are new to him. Every single advance report, the amount of information he's having to download to just compete as a catcher is exceptional. It's a massive undertaking. We are cognizant of that, and it absolutely has to impact his ability to prepare as a hitter, to have a routine as a hitter, and then to ultimately perform as a hitter. So yes is the short answer. That was the long answer, but what we are extremely pleased by with Jano is just his body language, his leadership, his professionalism. He is not taking his offense into his defense. The energy and body language that he has, even when he has a pass ball or he doesn't get the runner stealing a base, his toughness is impressive and easy to see.
His line drive rate is down, ground ball rate's up a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a pitch selection thing or more of a mechanical thing at this point?
He has been a 10% walk guy in the minor leagues with very good plate discipline. He has elite eye-hand coordination. He sees the ball so well that I think he's a little bit too aggressive right now, and that's impacting. You've seen them pitch him in a great deal, and he's offering at it. So I think that will change for him as well as he gets accustomed to it. And the reality of it is that the pitching is so much better than anything he's seen, and he seems to already be adjusting. I think it was the second game in Anaheim where he hit several balls hard, had really good at bats, and I have seen encouraging signs.
Ross, the Alan Hansen experiment didn't work out, and yet to see whether the Socrates experiment will work out. You might want to address that. But when you have Kevin, who's having he's hitting so well, in AAA, and in Jonathan you have both speed and defense.
Yeah.
Why are you not bringing up those guys and giving them the chance that you gave these two fellows?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I think, there's two things that are factoring in there. The first one is just making sure when they are transitioned that we maximize their opportunities in the minor leagues and that they are in a position to hopefully never go back. So that a lot of that is just track record and historic information, how long they've done something and what that means for predicting success here, and then all of the subjective opinions of that. But the more important piece to the equation is just wanting to make sure when they do come, they're playing every day. So as you've seen, or the bulk of the playing time. So as you've seen with Socrates Brito, he's had very limited playing time. Alan Hansen had limited playing time, was pinch running often, and when we bring a young player to the big leagues for the first time, we want them to play on a regular basis. We're also really encouraged by Lourdes Gurriel, and he'll start to get outfield reps as well, so that he could be a potentially more versatile piece for us here. So having all three of those guys performing well in AAA is very encouraging. We'd like to see it a little bit longer from Jonathan Davis, and want to ensure that we have the playing time for Kevin, Lourdes, or JD for when they do come.
Can you speculate on when Gurriel might be back?
Yeah, I mean, I could, and I probably not much better than you can, because so much of it is going to be based on just the performances here, and then his transition to the outfield and how long that takes. So, your experiences in baseball, it could be something that happens in a week or two, or it could take longer, depending upon the performances here, and then obviously his transition to the outfield.
That's what you're trying to make out of him now? You decided on that's what you're trying to make out of him?
What's that?
Gurriel, an outfielder?
No, just giving him that as a tool would help him play often here. Because if he came back as an everyday second baseman, then Brandon Drury's not playing. So I think adding that as a tool, and he's played that as an amateur. He played a great deal of outfield as an amateur. So getting that back into his game would give him more opportunity for regular playing time.
Russ, what about Vladdy? What are your impressions? I mean, the Anaheim here is the center of attention. When you see him, what do you see?
Supreme confidence and supreme baseball maturity. Obviously, he's very talented. He sees the ball well. Has great hands. He's been about what we expected as a defender, and his at-bats have been what we've expected as an offensive player. They just haven't turned into the doubles and home runs yet.
Russ, in terms of Gurriel, is his throwing at the point now where, from second base, where you'd be comfortable with him returning to the big leagues and being able to make that throw at second base? Is he comfortable too? And where's the tipping point in terms of there? Does he have to make that decision, or is that a decision you guys make?
No, we'll make it together, and I think it's just seeing it on a regular basis. He's made strides. He looks like the defender that he was a year ago down in AAA. He looks much more confident, and it's not just dependent upon his second base throws at this point right now, because we want to play Brandon Drury and Eric Sogard as well. So, it's not something where we say, this is a matter of time. It's a matter of seeing it over an extended period of time, and then hearing that confidence level from him, where is how we'll make the decision mutually.
Ross Reed Foley had one of his better starts today, but he still had 5 walks. What kind of reports are you getting on him lately?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly not been the same pitcher that he was last year, but he's working his way back that way. We are, there's a group of people working hard to help him get more consistent with that command, and that will definitely improve. He's shown that he can do that before. I think, he hadn't gotten off to a good start. He has not gotten off to a good start, obviously, but the strikeouts are still there. The effectiveness is there. The walks are the issues, and we have reason to believe that will turn as well.
Russ, you still have about 2 weeks before you have to make the decision on it. We'll need another 5th starter, but right now, what are you thinking of that? Is that Clayton Richard going to be a factor for that, or are you looking at different options for riding that going forward?
Well, he's the most realistic, and the one that would be the best scenario for us if that works out. But we're not going to rush him into that if he's not ready for it. We are extremely encouraged about where he is at this point, so I think that is him being on this team by then is certainly realistic for us.
Where's Ryan Barucki at in his rehab?
He's still in a recovery phase where he's going to start throwing again, and we'll get built back up, and we're going to be very cautious with it and make sure we don't expedite that and give him every chance we can to put it completely behind him.
He'll essentially kind of probably need almost like a spring training all over again when he starts getting.
Yeah, I think we'll be talking about June.
Yeah.
Clayton, how close is he to?
Clayton Mitchell,
sorry, didn't hear the question.
So he's a couple of weeks away, and could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more, depending upon just his recovery as he starts to field ground balls, cover first base, and then get built up from an inning standpoint. But he feels great.
So you don't feel a sense of urgency in making some kind of move, some kind of trade, whatever, for Charlie at this point?
Yeah, and with how our bullpen and our pitching, for that matter, has performed, I think the combination of Thomas Pannone and Sam Gaviglio will give us an opportunity to be creative until we get to the point that we add Clayton.
Russ, Charlie's really used the sacrifice bunt as a weapon far more than you guys would have previously. And the data is fairly conclusive that, in general, that doesn't make sense. Where do you stand on the use of it and how you guys have employed it to this point?
Yeah, I don't think it's something that Charlie feels strongly about using in every scenario. I think he's, in the scenarios that have presented itself, felt like who was hitting, who was pitching, guys were coming up to the plate, that it made some sense from a momentum standpoint.
Do you feel that the way that the data has performed, that perhaps the sacrifice bunt has been underutilized? Is there an advantage to using it strategically? How do you kind of balance the data versus situations in your mind?
The way I just articulated, it's so much dependent upon pitcher, hitter matchup, who's coming up behind. I think there's a lot of scenarios where it doesn't make sense, but if you're using track records and using the information to make the decision, not in isolation of sacrifice bunt or not, but using all the pieces to the equation, and not just in that game, or not just in that inning, like who's available to pitch after in the next inning. There's so much more to it than just deciding to sacrifice bunt or not, as a philosophy.